Jump in the water with them and float. Hold their hand and float with them. That's the best place to start.
Hello, it is Trauma Monday. It's not really Trauma Monday, it's Trauma Therapy Monday, and I'm about to go in for therapy. But I wanted to share another experience from my childhood as a PDAer. When I was in grade 1 and 2 in primary school, I had a teacher that clearly did not like me. And I want to say, I don't know why, but I understand adults and their bias and feelings and all that sort of stuff, and projection of our own experiences and fears, and I could conjure up a million reasons why this teacher didn't like me, but she made it really clear she didn't like me. So I was a 6 and 7-year-old girl, and not only did she not like me, she took opportunities to make me feel less than. And a couple of examples of that, and I've never forgotten because they become traumatic memories and experiences. Sitting on the ground for the morning roll call and being asked to go around and, when your name was called, share your favourite animal. And everybody did that. And then it was my turn, and I was W, so I was right near the end. And I shared that my favourite animal was a snake. And after responding to every other student in the class with positivity and a bright smile and wide eyes, wow, I love that animal too, when I shared that mine was a snake, I got a frown and a lowered tone and, are you sure? Which made me kind of cave in on myself and turn against myself, because immediately I thought, well, that was the wrong answer. I was trying to be interesting so that I could get this adult to actually engage with me, which is really sad. Other examples were anytime I shared up news, or we used to have, I think on Mondays was Newsday, and people were encouraged to bring something in and talk about it. And I didn't have an upbringing where I had exciting things to talk about, because we were poor, we were dysfunctional, and I did not have a safe or happy childhood. So I would mostly create stories about what happened on the weekend. And I think my teacher knew that, and she would outline this by questioning me in front of the class. This hasn't died. I have, as an educator myself, worked with educators that do this to children, which is absolutely appalling. But I can still feel in my body the shame, the rejection, the sadness. But most of all, how gut-wrenching it is to recognize that adults are capable of that when you are a small child. And when you're someone who is behaviorally challenging, or I guess carries this presence with you that can be met with incredible resistance from adults, unfortunately, very early on in life, you learn about adults being incredibly fallible and untrustworthy and harmful. And so that's what I'm touching on right now. After 2 years with this educator, I had a year of reprieve with a different teacher in grade 3. And then I remember at the end of grade 3 finding out on our last day of school who our teacher was going to be in the following year. And everybody was so excited to learn that it was going to be this particular teacher again that I had had that didn't like me. And I panicked about it all summer. I panicked about it all summer long and thought up ways I could get her to like me so that I could have a good year at school. Because an educator who takes a dislike to a child makes the entire year incredibly challenging for that child, but often doesn't think about the impact that our response to that child has. It also makes life really hard for the child in terms of how their peers see them. I'll never forget the first day of grade 4 when I was trying so hard to keep myself focused, to stay in my seat, to do all the right things. And I'm autistic, ADHD, PDAer, CPTSD. Didn't have an adult in the world on my side when I was, how old was I then? 10, 9 or 10. And I tried so hard to contain myself, and I was doing so well. And when we came back from lunch, this teacher came over to me, having not addressed me at all during the day. And with a frown, she expressed how disgusted she was in my behaviour because of what I had done during the lunch break, and threatened that I ever came into the classroom again, I'd be in serious trouble. And she finished that by saying, "Do you hear what I'm saying?" And I said, yes, with my head down and my eyes to the floor. And what nobody realised was that I had no idea what she was talking about. I had no clue what had happened at lunchtime while I was actually with my friends minding my own business. But somebody had gone into the classroom and taken something, and she had decided that it must have been me. And of course I went along with that because I didn't have the privilege of arguing my case. I didn't have the privilege of standing up for my rights or self-advocating. I'd never been taught to do that. And I certainly didn't have the safety to do that. And the reason I share this story is because it is really common for kids who are and were like I was to be shouldering the blame for things that we don't do. And the argument from many adults might be, but what about all the things that you do that are wrong? That's not a valid argument for assuming the worst of any child. And the point I want to make about this is it is far easier in society today to pathologize a child, no matter how they present, under any circumstances, as being defiant in the face of authority or not recognizing social hierarchies. These are actually characteristics that are used to pathologize children as part of ODD or PDA. And I think it's critical that we really consider that actually sometimes our defiance of adults or our not recognizing social hierarchies, and I think that there's so much to be unpacked about these characteristics alone, can be a rational response to the fact that not all adults are safe people. Not all adults are reasonable people. Adults are human beings. And many children who have to be on alert all of the time to keep ourselves safe are very skilled at being highly attuned to who people are, sometimes even before they know who they are themselves, and being highly attuned to any threats. So I ask that people truly consider before they pathologize children as being defiant of authority or not recognizing social hierarchies, as actually maybe having rational responses to those things, to adults, to wanting to distance ourselves or not do as we're told. And this is crucial to understand childism and the fact that as adults we hold a position of power that is seldom examined. That's all.